welcome back to another edition of 30 Teams in 30 Days here on Inside the Zone with Mateo. So glad you decided to click on this video, and as always, I hope you are entertained. For those who may not know what you clicked on, well, first things first, my name is Mateo. I host all the podcasts here on the channel on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. Actually, 30 Teams in 30 Days, we have not uploaded any of those to Spotify or iHeartRadio just because we're constantly uploading. It's a weird upload schedule because I record some videos earlier in the week and then post them later. So I apologize for that. But when we go back to July and August, when we go back to episodes twice a week, we will be reposting them back on Spotify and iHeartRadio as well as YouTube. But our main target is YouTube. Thank you guys so much for all the support. But 30 Teams in 30 Days is our NBA offseason preview. As I said already, we normally just did episodes every Tuesday and every Thursday. But since there were 30 teams in the NBA, 30 days in the month of June, I thought we're going to do something special. And we're 18 days in entering today. It's June 18th. For the last 17 days, we've gone through 17 of the 30 NBA teams, and we're going to continue to do it through June 30th, where we will go through every single NBA team, talking about their offseason, talking about what went well, what went not well for their teams last season, and so much more. So yes, we take a deep dive into each NBA team through the month of June. Today, it will be the Phoenix Suns, June 18th. It's going to be fire, bro. We're in playoff teams. There's the X on the left side of the screen because, yes, we're done with that side. We've done over half. We're over halfway through. We got my Minnesota Timberwolves in just a few days. And I just want to say, again, one more time, thank you guys for all your support. We're over 200 subscribers. We started this series with like 160 or 170. We've gained so many subscribers since then. Thank you guys so much. We're getting so many views. Continue to hype these videos. If you are subscribed already, just continue to like the videos. Talk in the comments. It really just helps the YouTube algorithm, and I just thank you guys so much. And if you aren't subscribed, hit that subscribe button if you like this content, and make sure you guys have the notification bell button on so you don't miss any of these other remaining episodes through the month of June, and as we continue to go talk about Minnesota sports after the month of June. But now let me stop yapping. Mateo Show batting order is the same thing. It's always here. No matter what episode you're watching, if it's a Timberwolves episode, if it's a Twins episode, if it's a soccer episode, there's always going to be a show batting order, which just kind of gives you guys a little bit of a roadmap where this car is going to go. Are we going to turn left here? Are we going to turn right? Or are we going to keep going straight? Or maybe we're going to go backwards. Basically, there's 5 things here for 30 teams in 30 days. The same batting order for every episode in 30 teams in 30 days here in the month of June. Number 1, how well did they do last season? Number 2, who they should draft. Number 3, who they should keep. Number 4, who they should target. And number 5, what is their early ceiling and floor? So, boys, sit back, relax, and enjoy because we've got the Phoenix Suns today, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's start off with the 2025-2026 season where we will recap the Phoenix Suns season. We'll take a look at some of their stats from their players, and I'm just going to give some overall thoughts here on the Phoenix Suns. Now, these episodes can go anywhere between like 25 to 30 minutes all the way up to 40 to 50 minutes. It's going to be somewhere in between there. We've been having a very inaccurate amount of, an average time of these episodes just because sometimes there's more trades to talk about than the other team. So I don't know how long this video is going to be, but appreciate you guys for watching, and please do enjoy it. So 2025-2026 season, it was a pretty solid season for the Phoenix Suns. They were kind of flirting with that best play-in seed, maybe a little bit of the 6th seed here and there. But they were 45-37. They were the 7th seed, I believe, in the Western Conference. Their top scorer was Devin Booker. Their top assister was Devin Booker. Their top rebounder was their center, Mark Williams. And here's the thing. They don't have a first-round pick, so this episode might already be a little shorter than normal because we won't have to talk about the draft because I'm not going to be including any trades to trade into the draft, even though I do think that could be a possibility for any of the teams that don't have a draft pick. So, yeah, D-Book, really, this was the first year without Kevin Durant by his side, and he had a pretty solid year. I mean, when you look at the stats here from the 2025-2026 season, he averaged 26.1 points, 6 assists, also put up 3.9 rebounds. Dylan Brooks really was his co-star for as long as the time as they were healthy, and that's the thing. Booker only played 64 games. Dylan Brooks only played 56 games. Mark Williams played 60 games. Jalen Green played 32. This team struggled with injuries, but they were still able to win 45 games. So again, Phoenix Suns, you're already in a really good situation. I think if people would have stayed healthy, if Booker would have played like 70 games, maybe Jalen Green would have played at least 50, this team could have easily been a 50 to 55 win team. And I say that, not really hesitating to say that, right? I'm pretty confident in that take. Dylan Brooks, though, in his 56 games, averaged 20.2 points, 3.6 rebounds, and 1.8 assists. Jalen Green, in 32 games, 17.8 points, 3.6 assists, 3.6 rebounds, and 2.8 assists. Grayson Allen played 51 games. He averaged 16.5 points, 3.0 rebounds, and 3.8 assists. Colin Gillespie played actually 80 games. I believe that was the most. Actually, no, sorry. Oso Agudaro, I believe is how you pronounce that name. Sorry if I did not pronounce his name correctly, but he did play all 82 games. But yeah, Colin Gillespie played 80 games in that time. He averaged 12.7 points, 4.1 rebounds, and 4.6 assists. So a really solid group for him. A really solid piece for the Suns. He was mostly coming off the bench. He did start 20 or so games. Mark Williams in 60 games, 11.7 points, 8.0 rebounds. Again, that was the team leader in rebounds, and then 1.0 assists. Royce O'Neal, another solid piece off the bench for the Phoenix Suns. This is the last guy we're going to highlight when we're looking at stat totals, but 9.8 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 2.9 assists per game. Some other leaders for some categories. Steal leader, of course, was Jordan Goodwin, the guard, 1.5 steals per game. And then Mark Williams was averaging 0.9 blocks per game. So that was pretty good. I did want to see how efficient D-Book was. Because that's always the thing. So 33% from the three-point range, about 46% from the floor. So really solid shooting numbers for D-Book. I just always like to see, especially for the players that don't play as many games, I wanted to see because we don't maybe remember them as much because they didn't play as many games. But D-Book, I've always been a huge fan of him, and it was really cool to see him take that major star role on that team. He's that number one option now, not Kevin Durant, not Bradley Beal. It's now Devin Booker, and I think he deserves it too. I love that guy, but definitely he needs some help as well. So we'll figure some things out as we go throughout this episode. But again, they don't have a draft pick, so we can go straight to really free agency. So yeah, we'll skip the draft section. We'll go to the first half of free agency because we split free agency into two different sections here on 30 teams in 30 days. Where the first part is we're taking a look at the Suns' own free agents. We'll see who I think they should keep, who I think they should let walk, and just from their free agency class here. So they have about 7 guys with expiring deals, including Mark Williams, Amar Coffey, Colin Gillespie, and then a couple other younger players or just cheaper players. So let's turn the pen on as normal. Bam. So we're going to actually move our way from bottom to top. I always like to do that here. So for these two-way players, obviously, at the end of the day, I always end up saying re-sign them because they're cheap. They're solid for you guys. But again, Suns, they're easily replaceable, so you don't have to worry or stress out about re-signing Kobe Bray and Isaiah Livers. However, Jordan Goodwin, again, we already just mentioned Jordan Goodwin was your steals leader. I wanted to see, he played 70 games. He actually ended up starting only 10. So he was a solid addition off the bench, and I apologize for some. My bad. I had misread a stat where some of the players I was looking at games started instead of games played. So guys like Royce O'Neal played a lot, started a lot more. So did Colin Gillespie. I apologize for that. But Jordan Goodwin, I think 27, almost 28 years old, making about $1.2 million. If he was indeed your steals leader, and he was, and I believe, he was pretty efficient. I mean, he averaged about 9 points, 4.9 rebounds, 2.2 assists. Like, that's a solid 8th man. I think if you can get him for something like that, $1 million, probably between the $1 to $4 million, I think that's an easy player to sign, save some money, and just get a really, really solid guy for your team's depth. For Jameer Bouet, I believe I apologize if I butcher some of these guys' names. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. People are giving me a hard time for Denny out of Portland. I'm not going to just try to pronounce it because people keep getting I don't get it. People, you know who I was talking about in that Trailblazers video, Denny Ajiva or Advia, whatever. I don't care, brother. I don't care. Y'all know who I was talking about. I don't think the other dude cares. I was glazing Denny. So I think that's all he matters. If people like him, I was glazing him a little bit. That's fine. So pardon me. Apologies to you Blazer fans one more time. But still, Y'all gotta chill. But this dude here, again, similar to Jordan Goodwin, you can definitely bring him back, and he's fairly cheap. Obviously, he did play way less than Jordan Goodwin. So at the end of the day, if you're trying to save some money, I think that's an easy cut. But he has a club option. I'd take that club option. $2.6 million is what you'll pay him this year. And then maybe next season you'd let him walk. But yeah, I'd take that club option. Like these free agents aren't that they aren't too if you lose them, they won't hurt your team too much. But if you sign them, you can get some solid deals out of them. Colin Gillespie, I think, is a must resign. I really like his fit in Phoenix. He had a solid year. Again, he was able to stay healthy. He started 58 of the 80 games. He played 12.7 points again per game. Solid rebounds, solid assists. Wasn't turning the ball over too much. He was averaging 1.6 turnovers per game. That was one of the fewest for the team. He's just really solid as that guard, and he's just a great six man to have. Or maybe you have him starting at the end of the day. We'll see though what happens there. I think he's an easy resign. Amar Coffey kind of depends again on what you want. He only played 16 games last year. I think personally, sure, he's an unrestricted free agent, non-bird. That just makes it easy for me to say, yeah, thanks coffee, but you can go drink coffee somewhere else. So I'd say that's just an easy, okay, you can go find another job. Thanks for playing, but you weren't able to stay healthy. You didn't play much and you weren't really contributing. So for 2.8 million or probably higher than that, I'd say, no, just let him walk, because I do think you're going to have to pay Mark Williams a nice little amount. I think he's a solid young center that you can use in your team. I think the way the Phoenix Suns play, they don't need to be overly big. And I think Mark Williams is just a solid addition. He's just a solid piece of this team that you need to keep around. He is 7'1". He's kind of your tallest guy there. He's 240. He just was really, really valuable, I think. And, if you can keep him around for fairly cheap or even a normal contract, maybe, he was making $5 million about last year. It was $4.5 million last year. He's going to be entering his fourth season, so maybe you pay him somewhere between 8 to 10 million a year. I think you could lock him down 3 years, 30 million, or a little less than that, and I still think that's a good price for Mark Williams. I think he's super valuable, and you need some centers, especially guys. As I've been saying this a lot for Western Conference teams. Who's in your conference? Victor Wembanyama, Alfred Şengün, Chet Holmgren, Rudy Gobert for the time being. All of the big dogs. I mean, I'm not saying Houston's a big dog, but they're still a competitor. Nikola Jokic, guys. All of these competitive teams have big men. And so you need a big man that can be able to at least compete to some extent with some of these big guys if you want a chance to succeed. Mark Williams is a perfect guy. If he doesn't get re-signed, if he goes somewhere else, that's a big loss. So he has to be your number one priority, in my opinion, for the Phoenix Suns. I think Colin Gillespie is number 2. And then these other guys are your third options. I think you got to lock up Mark Williams, lock up Colin Gillespie, and then figure out what happens. Then you can do trades. Then you can re-sign these other guys. But for the time being, those are your 2 options here. I think if you do see those guys walk, if they don't re-sign with the Phoenix Suns, they're going to be significant losses, and it's going to be noticeable of how big of a loss it is, unless, of course, they make a blockbuster move. But I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen. However, we can talk about who they might target here in the second half of free agency, where I will try to predict where the scenic funds, bro. Oh my gosh, it's the Phoenix Suns. Oh, boys, I'm sorry. Phoenix Suns, where the Phoenix Suns will end up doing here in free agency, who they will sign either by the open market or by a trade. So here are some top targets. Notice it's all point guards, because I'm prepared for the heat, guys. For the Chicago Bulls episode, by the way, I think that's the most viewed. That's the most 30 teams in 30 days video yet. People have been on me for saying Josh Giddey is not a 2-guard. I think Josh Giddey's a 2-guard, and I'm going to stand by my ground for a little bit. By the way, I looked up this morning. I was playing around 2K. I know 2K is not the best, but 2K has him listed as a 2-guard as well. He is not a point guard, okay? And guess who's not also a point guard? Devin Booker. Devin Booker, as much as I want him, I love him, I respect that guy. He is not a point guard. He's a two guard first. I'm gonna defend the Heat. I don't know why people keep getting so mad at me for doing this, but I'm gonna stand my ground. Josh Giddey, Devin Booker should belong as a two guard. They are good playmakers. They can drive, they can shoot. They're not great ball handlers, okay? They're not great ball handlers. And I think taking that responsibility away from D-Book would greatly help your team. And yes, I know Jalen Green's your starting two guard. I think Jalen Green gets traded this offseason. It's just did not work out for them. Did not work out whatsoever. So these are three guys. Kobe White's in free agency. So you could also hypothetically keep Jalen Green and sign Kobe White and then not have to trade him. But I do think if you were to go out and get one of these other two guys that I have as my top targets, Jalen Green would probably have to be included in that deal just to make the money work. So the other two options, heavily rumored, Ja Morant. He's on the trade block. It looks like they're going to move on from him. I think Jalen Green is a perfect piece for Memphis, by the way. And then also Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving now is a little bit of a veteran. And I think that could also help D-Book in a different way. So Kobe White and Ja Morant, they're younger. So if you want to go the younger role, you have a young group of D-Book. You got Ja Morant or Kobe White as your point guard. And then you got maybe Dylan Brooks as your three. He's a little older. And then you got Royce O'Neal. He's a little older. And then you got Mark Williams, who's younger. That's a good mix. But also, I don't mind if it's a little bit of an older group with Kyrie in replace of Ja or Kobe White. And maybe you go get a younger three or a younger four, depending on what you want. Because Dylan Brooks can play the three or the four. And I do think they're going to keep Dylan Brooks around just a little bit longer. Maybe he's a trade deadline, trade. But currently, I think he's going to still be on this team opening night. That's what I'm thinking. So let's go to Fanspo. We use Fanspo. It's the best trade machine, in my opinion. Also, there's one more thing. There's a couple other guards. Like if you want to keep Devin Booker as your one, you could go get a guy like CJ McCollum, Anthony Simons, Norman Powell, guys like that I've talked about for other teams. You could also be an option. Those are free agencies. I did want to say Spot Track, their trade machine's pretty solid, but I understand Fanspo a little bit easier, and I just think it's easier for you guys to understand here. So we're gonna have some fun here. Phoenix Suns, we're going to first do the Memphis Grizzlies and by the way, these trades are actually really super straightforward because, well, they're very straightforward if you include Jalen Green, who's making $36.2 million over the next 2 years. For the next 2 years. So we're going to do Memphis first. The Grizz, where are we at, Grizz? There we are. We got Ja Morant. So Ja Morant would end up going to the Suns. Now, again, I've stated this in other episodes. I don't know necessarily what Ja Morant's value is, but I think getting a 24-year-old shooting guard is a pretty solid return. Now, it's not going to just be a one-for-one. I think it could be as simple as this. You could add more players. You could add a first-round pick, sure. I think, by the way, this 2026 first-round pick, they don't own. They don't own that. I'm sorry. I believe Charlotte owns that pick. Let me show you guys here quick things first. Here's the simulator, the mock draft simulator we use. Phoenix does not have a pick. Look, Phoenix has given it to Memphis. Memphis has Phoenix's pick. Phoenix does not have a first-round pick. It's there, okay? So I think you give up a 2027, maybe a 2027 or a 2028 first-round pick. We'll just do a 2027 for this instance. And I think Jalen Green in a first-round pick for Ja Morant is plenty. The Grizzlies are so hungry to get rid of Ja Morant, I'm pretty sure, that I think they'd accept this. A first-round pick in Jalen Green, a player you can build around, maybe, when you draft Cam Boozer or somebody like that, Jalen Green, Cam Boozer, Zach Edey, that's a pretty solid group, a young core to build around. And then Ja Morant just gets a new change of scenery. The lineup, Morant, Booker, Brooks, Mark Williams, and a four wherever you want. I just really like it. But if you want to keep Jalen Green, it just makes it a little tougher financially, just because Ja Morant is making like $42 million. But you can do it. Like if you want to, like, first things first, it would be just some older dudes. Oh, I forgot they have I'm not going to try to pronounce this dude's name. Okay, Malach. He's 19 years old. He's 7'2". I also like him as a center. So you have some two good, solid big men. But Grayson Allen, like, this would require, I think, more first-round picks Royce O'Neal, Grayson Allen, and probably 2 first-round picks. Maybe 2 first-round, like a very late, a 2032, or they don't really have many tradable firsts. Like, I don't know if this is value, like, is this the Stephen rule, right? And Phoenix is still acquiring too much. So it's like, it just makes it harder in this case to bring John Morant without giving up Jalen Green. And it just makes, and with Jalen Green, it's just super straightforward. You could even do, if you want, if you think there's more value, maybe Royce O'Neal or Grayson Allen, include him with Jalen Green in that first round pick if you want a little bit more value. But again, I don't think John Morant's value is that high. So then the other team, of course, is the Mavericks, who I think would gladly take Jalen Green. I think he's a solid 2 for them to go on. I don't know why they say Cooper Flag's a point guard. I don't know what's going on there. But you have that solid front court with like Derek Lively or Daniel Gafford. You got Cooper Flag at the 3 or the 4. You got PJ Washington. You got a solid now 2 guard. And then you probably try to go grab a point guard in the draft. That's what I'm assuming they're going to do. Because, I mean, when you go over here, like, I don't want to do this for the Dallas Mavericks, but you're at pick 9 where there's probably going to be a guard available. I mean, maybe you miss out on one. Yeah, see, like Keaton Wagler fell. Like, you could take him or Acuff or Burries, whoever falls to you. You can take that, and that could be your starting 2 guard or even your 1 guard if you want that to be the case. So, obviously, Jalen Green would be in here. And this, I believe, would work financially 1 for 1. They're making about the same amount of money. And then, yeah, you'd include that 2027 first-round pick. And I think Kyrie has a little bit more of a trade value, higher trade value than John Morant. So you add in an additional first-round pick if this can go through, and it does. You can maybe add in another player if you need to, maybe a younger player like Rasheer Fleming. Maybe they want to keep him, but let's say, I mean, if you just you got to make a decision here. Okay, Flemings can go here, and I believe this still works financially. Yes, it does. So again, Kyrie, Ja, it's a very easy trade package. There is one other team that I said, okay, maybe that could be interesting, and it would be the Toronto Raptors with Emmanuel Quickley, because Quickley is another solid younger point guard, same age, I believe, as D-Book, or D-Book's a couple of years older. So he'd go to the Suns. Jalen Green would go play over there in Toronto. 1-for-1 deal, I'm pretty sure would work financially. Yes, it would. And I think that's actually a pretty fair deal. Maybe you have to include like a Flemings. I don't even think you would have to do a pick for this. And yeah, it would be good. So again, adding like the secret to any trade that the Suns want to do is probably Jalen Green, right? I think Jalen Green is the perfect player to include here into a trade. But it's just the matter of timing and whatever the Suns decide to do. It's going to be very interesting. I wanted to see what people on Fanspo are doing or talking about for teams with the Phoenix Suns. So I always like to do this for a little bit just to kind of keep the episode flowing a little bit more here. Like, this would have the Phoenix Suns be getting Clay. I don't love that. Hold up. Let's see. De'Aaron Fox. I mean, there's another piece, you guys. There is another piece. Like, see, Jalen Green, like, okay. Jalen Green is like perfect. Dude, this is actually, I like this. I kind of forgot about De'Aaron Fox for a second. De'Aaron Fox going to the Suns. I love that. Marshall also going to the Suns. And then in return for De'Aaron Fox, the Spurs get Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, PJ Washington. A bunch of veterans. Perfect for the Spurs. And then the Mavericks in return for PJ Washington and Marshall get Jalen Green. I'd say maybe even the Mavericks are getting a little too much for what they're giving up, but it is what it is. And then basically for De'Aaron Fox, you're giving up Jalen Green, Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal. I don't know. Let's see if anybody. There are 72 comments. They say Spurs pass. Only Suns do this. Only the Suns. I don't think the Spurs could do this to Fox. I don't hate it for any team, but I don't hate it for any team, but only love it for one. Suns say yes because they add Fox, who should play well with Book. Yep. And then Spurs likely keep Fox or trade him for expirings and a pick so they have extra money for a Wemby extension. Mavs pass for sure. Green doesn't seem to be a positive, especially if it means Dallas giving up PJ and also good value for role players. Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends. Suns should have to give a first-round pick to the Spurs. I mean, it kind of just depends on what you want. I feel like the Mavs of all teams should like this trade. I really do. I think I know he didn't have a great year last year, but still, I still think Jalen Green still has a lot of potential. I mean, he's 24 years old. People keep forgetting how young he is. I don't know. I think you take a risk, and I feel like the Mavericks are a perfect team to take a risk. In this scenario, you would have then Kyrie, Jalen Green, Cooper Flag, Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively, depending on who you want, and then another three who you could probably go grab. It wouldn't be uh, PJ Washington playing at the four, but you could find somebody in free agency. Imagine LeBron ends up over there, someone like that. I could see this trade. I really like this trade. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. We'll go through one more so before we go to ceiling and floor. If there's anybody, I don't love that. Kyrie going to miss. Okay, I mean, here's the thing. Julius Randle, I forgot about these rumors. Julius Randle to the Suns has definitely been there. It's been in the working for a little bit here. What's this potential offer? Obviously, Timberwolves get Kyrie Irving. That's what we want. Yeah, that's solid. I'd take that for Julius Randle. Dante DiVincenzo, really? You're only giving that up in a first-round pick? Oh, yeah, for sure. The Suns would get Julius Randle. Bulls would take on DiVincenzo's injured year and a second-round pick. Then the Mavericks would get they also get 2 second-round picks. What do they get, though, in return? See, I don't think you need the Bulls in this trade. And then the Mavericks get Jalen Green and a first-round pick. See, that's what I'm talking about. I think that's very realistic. I like that too. But again, here's the one thing. Then the Suns don't get that point guard, but maybe they can get a guy like Anthony Simons or Kobe White in free agency. So yeah, I mean, it's there here. I want to experiment this trade here. They said this is for the 25-26 season. I want to make sure it's in the next season to make sure we get this realistic. I probably can get this one to be accepted here. So T-Wolves and then the Mavs would also be. I don't think you need to do the Bulls. You can figure out what to do with Dante later. So it'd be Kyrie going to the Timberwolves. It would be Julius going to the Suns. Jalen Green going to the Mavs. And I think everything works financially, right? See, you could do it one for one. Literally, you don't need Dante. And then you add picks. I think Jalen Green's probably the worst value here. And that's saying a lot because y'all know how much I hate on Julius Randle. But this is the base trade that you can add to it. So if this is the base trade, you guys, as fans of these teams or just as basketball fans, what do you think they would have to add to make this trade work? Because one for one, it all works out. And I think all three of those teams get better. Just saying. But of course, we'll see what happens at the end. And before we wrap things up, let's go and do ceiling and floor, where if you guys aren't familiar with this, there are going to be 2 bullet points. One thing is going to say without the moves I suggested, and then it's going to give a ceiling, just the ceiling, and then the floor, of course, is the worst team in the league. And then the second one is going to say with the moves I suggested. So bam, without the moves I suggested, I think if they keep their team relatively the same, they're another first round exit. They can make the first round, but then likely going to get first round just because the West is loaded, right? But with the moves I make, if they go grab a point guard, if they go get somebody like Kyrie or John Morant, Kobe White, someone like that, maybe they get Julius Randle. And yes, I can't believe I'm saying that. If they get Julius Randle, they're a little bit better. And I think I move their ceiling up to winning in the first round. But their second round would be the ceiling. I don't think they're a contender quite yet, but that's also largely to do just because of how good and competitive the Western Conference is. But let me know what you guys think their ceiling and floor is for this year. Do you think their floor might be a play-in tournament? Do you think they can at least get to that? That's the worst they could do. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below, and let's get these discussions going. I love discussing stuff with you guys, so appreciate you guys for watching. And again, please come back tomorrow because we got a new team coming up tomorrow. Let's see who it is. It is going to be the Atlanta Hawks, dude. ATL and Charlotte are those 2 teams in the Eastern Conference that I glaze so much, so that's going to be definitely fun. Do I have Anthony Edwards getting traded to his hometown team? Well, we'll figure that out coming up tomorrow, but I'll just say, spoiler alert, no, but we will see if that's possible because there's rumors. There's always rumors that Anthony Edwards wants to leave Minnesota and go play for his home team. I don't think the Hawks have enough, but we can see if it's if it's realistically. I'll promise you that, but we'll probably do it towards the end of the episode. But thank you guys so much for watching here. Let me know all your thoughts on the Phoenix Suns. If you're a Suns fan, did I break your team down well, or did I miss up a couple things? Like people keep saying Josh Giddey is not a two guard, but I say otherwise. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button and subscribe button. Turn the notification bell button on so you never miss any other episode. And most importantly, don't forget to keep God first, because he's the most important thing in your lives. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Have a great day. Peace.